Hey guys, I'm Bob. Welcome to the Math channel, and today I'm going to teach you how to actually solve questions involving finding the constant terms, given a binomial expression. And the idea of solving is actually to use the general term. For in this case, the general term, let's recap, is t r plus 1 is equals to n choose r, a to the power of r, and b to the power of n minus r. So r plus 1 is called the term itself. So this is actually the r plus 1 term. Okay, so in order to solve this question, finding the constant term, the first thing that we need to understand is actually to determine what do you mean by the constant term. Alright, a constant term actually involves, the term whereby when you sort of like multiply, expand this binomial expression out, you get a term whereby it is x to the power of 0. Alright, so sometimes it can become very difficult to actually calculate what is the constant term itself, whereby it is the term that is independent of x, and when you have such a big power down here, which is to the power of 20. So now let me teach you how to actually solve it. I'm going to imagine that there's two tables. One is A, the other one is B. Okay, and I'm going to determine what is my A and what is my B. So based on the general term itself, my A itself is actually what? 3x cubed. Am I right to say that? But we will focus on the x cube itself because, firstly what we want to do is we want to find out what is my, what makes up my R and what makes up my n minus R itself. So we know that, my A itself is x cubed and my B itself is 4 over x, but we just focus on the x itself. So because the x is below, we're bringing up itself is x to the power of -1. So what we are trying to focus here is that we are trying to sort of like allocate what is my R and what is my n R minus R, such that you can get a constant term which is x to the power of 0 that is independent of x. Alright, we know one thing that for R plus n minus R, that means when these two powers actually add together, you will get n. And n itself is actually refers to this. Alright, so in this case my n is equals to 20. So what we're trying to do is that we're trying to determine this R and n minus R. So let us start. Imagine we allocate R is equals to 12. Alright, and of course n minus R is just simply 20 minus 12. So n is equals to 20, right? R is equals to 12, and that gives you 8. Alright, so what it becomes is that we just a to the power of R, is just basically my R itself is 12, so R is 12, and A itself is imagined to be x cubed. And my B itself, B to the power of n minus R itself is just x to the power of -1 to the power of 8. Alright, so when we got the answer is just x to the power of 3 times 12 is 36 times x to the power of -8. That will give you x to the power of 28, and that is not the constant term that I want. So which means to say that R equals to 12 is not the answer that I want to find out the constant term itself. So how do I determine the constant term? We realize that we have to put in more weight down to this power. That means this power itself must be greater than this power by quite a big margin. Right, so let us try another one. Let's say, for example, R is equals to 5 and n minus R is equals to 15. So what do we have down here is that my x to the power of 3, x cubed to the power of 5, because this A is x cubed and R is equals to 5, while my B, my B is what? X to the power of -1, which is to the power of 15. Alright, so we must know that R plus n minus R must be equals to 20. Alright, so what you get down here is R plus n minus R, which is 5 plus 15, which gives you 20. Alright, so now when you work it out itself, it is actually x to the power of 15 times x to the power of -15, and that gives you x to the power of 0. Alright, so this is the term that I want. This constant term is x to the power of 0. So now we know that what is my R and my n minus R, such that okay, it will give me a constant term of x to the power 0. So my r must be 5, and my n minus r is equals to 15, and that sums out equals to 20, right? So last but not least, what you do is that you'll find the constant term. So how do you find a constant term? It's just, okay, basically, all right, sub in everything. So we know that the general term is n choose r. So in this case, my n is 20, my r is 5. A itself in this case is 3x cubed. So that is, okay, 3x cubed to the power of r, which is 5. Okay, and my b itself is negative 4 over x. So negative 4 over x, okay, to the power of 15, and that will be your constant term itself, or the term independent of x. So what I'm trying to emphasize is actually to use this method, which is, okay, we've determined what is my a and what is my b itself based on x. Okay, we just do not focus on the coefficient, but we focus on this x itself, and try to come out and determine what is my r and what is my n minus r, knowing that my r plus n minus r is equals to n, which is 20. So what you're trying to speak here is that we are splitting, okay, the 20 into values such that we will be able to determine what values of r and what values of n minus r will give me the constant term, which is the term independence of x, which is x to the power 0. So in this case, we know that when we do this, right, we sort of like allocate r is equal to 5 and n minus r is equal to 15, and only then we will get x to the power of 0, okay, as the constant term itself. Alright, so r is equal to 5 and n minus r equals to 15 will give you the constant term, and hence from there itself we will use this general term to answer the question to find a constant term. Alright, the last step I will leave it to you to actually expand. Alright, so if you guys have any questions, alright, you can actually post it down in the comment section below, and do subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys for your support, and I will see you the next time around. Goodbye guys.